Hi everyone, this is Kathleen, Francesca, and welcome to This Is Me. We are on our third episode, and I have the amazing boys here with me in the music industry, and the title of our episode is Rhythm and Real Talk. So I'm just going to go ahead and allow them to introduce themselves. So we have the amazing Kris Lawrence here.
What's up, everybody? My name is Kris Lawrence. I am from the Philippines, and I am delighted to be here.
What's up? I'm Ehrich, originally from New Jersey. I'm stoked to be here too.
Hi guys, my name is Filip Kubrick. I'm from Slovakia, and I'm honored to be here.
So I kind of just want to go around and really kind of get to know where you guys got your start, right? You know, we all have like amazing stories, amazing journey, and I'm interested to really kind of find out where you got your start and how, you know, what inspired you to have the career that you have now.
Cool. Well, for me, I was born and raised here in LA, and music has always been a part of my life. I started playing the piano when I was 4. My parents enrolled me into Yamaha music school, so, you know, just being a kid, music has already been in my life. Started playing the guitar at 13, and then I found out that I had a voice at about 15 and a half. So when some of my friends were like, dang, he can sing, he's all right, he's pretty good. So I started joining talent shows at school, ended up winning a couple, and then did this boy band thing with my best friend. His name is JR. He's also a successful R&B singer in the Philippines. We started to record here in the States, and this was like 2000, like the year 2000, 2001. It was a little discouraging at the time because of the way I look, I guess. Like, I'm Filipino, and at that time, they kind of said, all the labels that we were at kind of said, like, you guys are good, but honestly, the way you guys look, like, we don't know what to do with you guys. So, you know, for us, it was a little discouraging. The band broke up. My boy JR went to go do his thing in the Philippines. He's always been getting offers to do stuff in the Philippines, but he rejected it because he wanted to make it out here, just like me. So band broke up. He went over there, blew up. He did his thing in the Filipino community. Like, we kind of heard the waves that he made over there. 2 years later, he visited me at work. I used to work at Starbucks as a barista. I was a personal trainer at 24 Hour Fitness, and I was a shoe salesman at Foot Locker.
It's just doing a lot of things, right?
And I was selling Cutco knives door to door. So one day he visited me at 24 Hour Fitness. He pulls out like this fat wad of like hundreds and stuff. I was like, damn, where'd you get that, bro? He's like, bro, I got it from singing. I was like, dude. He's like, you want to give it a shot? I was like, hell yeah. He's like, well, the new fad out there is these contests. At that time, it was like American Idol. So the Philippines had their version of American Idol. So in 1 week, I quit all my jobs. I took the money that I had saved up, which was only like $600-700. My dad got me the first ticket out with JR to go back to the Philippines, and in a week I was already back in the Philippines. So I got there. I had $700. Thank God I had my boy JR taking care of me. Shout out to you, brother Jay. So it was cool because it's like, you got your circle that takes care of you. Everybody supports each other. Everybody believes in this one dream. And I got the audition to the show. So I got the audition. I did my thing. I got into what do you call it? Last call, or like the final audition.
The final call, yeah.
So I get the final call, get in. So I'm finally in the show now. Made the top 50, made the top 40. Mind you, my $700 is like at $300 by this time. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm running out of money. So top 30, top 12, then top 5, and then so the show lasted for 8 months, and 8 months later, I was crowned the first Filipino American grand champion of the show. So I ended up winning the show, and that $700 turned into $1 million pesos, a 2-year recording contract and a 2-year TV contract. So ever since then, it's been doing my thing.
So can I ask the name of the show?
It was called Search for the Star in a Million, season 2.
Okay.
It was on ABS-CBN.
you know, it's interesting because, you know, I grew up in Filipino household, and I speak fluent Tagalog, even though I, you know, spent majority of my childhood here in America, but I barely watch Filipino.
How dare
Filipino
you.
shows. I know, right? But hey, I can speak it. But you know, Netflix now, they have a lot of Filipino
lot, yeah.
movies.
They
And
do,
my
they do.
daughter, who's
Right.
born and raised here in California, she went to the Philippines for a month. She came back like completely fluent in Tagalog.
Yeah, I had to learn out there too, so I got pretty fluent after like 2 to 3 years.
How hard was it transition being here in America and, you know, trying to make a career in a different country?
So that's a good question. At the time, I thought I was adjusting just fine, but back in hindsight, I realized how much of a hard time it actually was. Like, it's a totally different culture. Like, they're a very reserved type of people. Out here, it's like you go get them. Like, we're all about it. We got to go get our thing. So when Americans go to the Philippines and that energy is just like, oh yeah, why? I could get that. Like, you know what I mean? There, it's more of like, can I please get it? So you come off a little too strong. You know what I mean? So that adjustment, it took me, I kid you not, like 4 years to just like dumb down a bit and then blend in. So I did come off a lot more arrogant and cocky, but I didn't realize it.
Because our culture there, like I learned at a very young age, like here in America, when we're talking to someone, even if like someone, you know, older than us, we look at them straight in the eye, right? And I've gone in trouble before talking to my parents, looking at them in the eye, when I think in the Philippine culture, you should
you
be
look down.
looking down.
Right.
So it is a lot of adjustments,
It's a
you know,
lot of
little
adjustment,
things like that, like the morals and values. Some of them are the same, but I notice also, you know, here in the US, we loosely tell people, hey, I love you, I miss you, take care. But in the Filipino culture, at least, you know, back when I was there, they're not really vocal about expressing certain feelings, right? They do what they call like tough love.
There is that angle as well. But, you know, in the industry, I do feel that the words I miss you, the words I love you, it is thrown around in the industry.
Yeah, so it changed
It
quite a
changes,
bit.
yeah.
What a journey.
We're becoming more westernized thanks to YouTube.
How about you, Mr. Max?
Yes.
Where did you come from? How did you get here?
I don't know. Another planet. And a spaceship took me here, and here I am. No, I'm from a small town in New Jersey, and from a very young age, actually, oddly enough, 4 years old also is the earliest memory I have, playing the piano on my grandma's lap. And when she passed, when I was 4, I felt this energy towards the piano, and you know, obviously my mom was grieving during the time, and it was a really I always felt the need to perform for my family, whether it be at any family function. So I'd have my cousins, my brother, every single person in my family just put on shows. So from a very young age, all I remember is just entertaining at every single family gathering. And you know, I played every single sport, but I convinced my parents to allow me to do community theater. And, you know, in my town, it was not necessarily like the cool thing. So from a very young age, I experienced a lot of bullying. And interestingly enough, that, you know, that gave me this drive that I was just like, I need to use this energy for something good, because I wanted to break some sort of social stigma, you know? I was like the only guy in this like acting class, dance class, singing class. And for me, it was dope because I developed like a sensitivity that I'm not sure I necessarily would have gotten had I not had that experience as a kid. And yeah, so I ended up going to a performing arts camp, and that was my just favorite place in the entire world, because every single person was just like me. They were all performers and all were very in touch with their emotions and creative outlets. And, you know, I was like, every time when that summer would end and I'd have to go back to school, I was like crushed. And so I I convinced my parents to let me audition for this performing arts high school in New York City. I ended up getting into the performing arts high school, and all my friends from school were already on Broadway, already on TV shows, movies.
Wow.
So I was super inspired, and I was just relentless. I dropped a headshot and resume on like 100 different doorsteps. I was just like, there's no stopping me. I want to just do this.
Yeah.
And I really admire that that 15-year-old like person that I still carry around with me. And I ended up getting an audition for this movie called High School Musical 3. And I was obviously like, for me, that was
A huge deal, yeah.
the biggest thing ever. And like Zac Efron, I thought was the coolest person in the world. And it's so interesting because that movie has a similar message. I felt like that story was like parallel to my story. I ended up not getting the role that I auditioned for, but I got on a plane and flew to Utah and ended up auditioning for another part in the film. And Kenny Ortega was like, I'm not making this movie without you in it. And yeah, so I got on that set, and it was a dream come true. I had no idea that I was going to do TV and film. I thought I was just going to do Broadway. I thought that was my calling. Film just seemed so out there. And when I got on set, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do.
Yeah.
And from there, I ended up getting a role on this TV show called Ugly Betty. And then
I love Ugly Betty.
Yeah.
They did a Filipino version of Ugly Betty many, many years ago.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I
they did.
remember
They
that.
did.
sick. And what was it? What was the name of it?
God.
Betty LaFea.
Betty LaFea.
Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, that was a super cool project. And then from there, I got into NYU, UCLA. I was going to go to school for acting, and then I just kept working. And so I deferred, and I came out to LA with my girlfriend at the time at 17, and I got a role on iCarly, Shake It Up, was doing like Disney, Nickelodeon stuff. And then I booked 2 CBS pilots as a series regular. So I was just like, all right, I kept deferring college like year after year. And yeah, it's been quite the journey. You know, from there, I got a role on The Young and the Restless, and then this Spielberg Stephen King series, Under the Dome. And it's felt like this very organic evolution in my career. And then I did this film called Walk, Ride, Rodeo, where it's about this champion barrel racer who got paralyzed from the waist down after a very tragic accident she was in. And during that time, I was making music on my own. Nobody really knew except for like my closest friends. You know, I was so used to like playing characters, and, you know, I love putting on a character mask and being able to like tell a story that way. But music is so personal. So I didn't really feel comfortable sharing my heart. For me, it's like journal entries almost. It's like someone like reading your journal. And someone suggested to me that I just start posting on Instagram, like start posting like videos of me singing. So I did, and one of the producers of this Netflix movie was like, I didn't know that you sang. And I was like, yeah, I sing, I write. And he was like, that's awesome. And I was like, yeah, do you have all the songs in the movie already placed? And he said, we have the Dixie Chicks, we have Rascal Flatts, like, do you make country music? And I was like, I can. And so I had friends in Nashville. I hopped on a flight to Nashville. I made a song called Ride, and that song ended up becoming the theme song of the movie. And that started my musical journey, where that's been quite a journey as well for me, because obviously that song was written for the movie, but I started to feel more comfortable sharing my music. And especially during the quarantine, we had so much time. I ended up getting a film halfway through that, but, you know, I was like in the studio 24/7 almost, and just creating, and I feel more comfortable sharing my journey, and I'm very cognizant of the messages that I'm putting out into the world. And I think that music is such a powerful tool to shift society and be able to, you know, like let people relate to your story.
And music's such a personal thing, you know.
Yes.
It's like there's certain events in your life that you remember once you hear a certain song, right? Like even like any songs from my childhood. Like I remember there's this 80s song. I went to a funeral and they played that song. Now, like every time I hear that, I'm like, you think about that. I'm like, I
like
need
it
something
stamped
else
it.
to happen when that song is playing, so I can like, put that away from, from my memory. That's so cool. Now we have Phil here. Phil and I have known each other not too long ago.
Not long, yes.
A good friend of mine had a birthday party and Phil was there as a DJ, and we talked about, hey, we should do an event together, and we kind of made that happen yesterday.
Which was amazing.
So I do know you came from a modeling world.
Yes.
But you also DJ on the side.
Yes.
So how did you get to LA, and how did you come from modeling to DJing?
It's been quite a journey, and I'm so grateful for all this experience. Well, my journey kind of began when I was in high school. I was introduced to electronic music by my brother, who is older. He's 7 years older, and he's been traveling the world because he was a cabin crew, and he kind of opened a lot of doors in my life, which I'm very grateful for, and I love him so much. Basically, he showed me a lot of artists, what he got to know and got to see when he was traveling a lot. And that really changed my life. When I was 14, I got into like electronic music and started to listening a lot of mixes. I was creating my own playlists, and I was that kid in school who was always on the headphones and not really paying attention to anything what's going on in school, but I was just obsessed with music in general. A lot of people didn't understand me. I was a very shy kid. I was also bullied as well for just who I am, and I also like played a lot of sports at that time, and I didn't have a lot of interest in anything besides music. I was always hooked up on headphones and kind of like searching for new songs and new mixes. And I started modeling in my highlight of my career when I played volleyball. I became pro when I was 20, and I injured my shoulder, and I kind of lost a vision for my future because like how kids are, like they don't know what they want to do with their lives, and I was a very lost kid, and what I knew in my life was music and sports. And my brother brought me to agency, and I got signed, and I started to travel since I was 20. So my first trip was Thailand. I was 6 months I spent in Thailand, and I got offered from modeling agency in LA, and that was crazy to me because I never really traveled a lot, and my second trip for modeling is America. So when I came to America, it opened my eyes how crazy life is and how interesting it is to see world from different perspective and how different mentality can change you. And when I was 24, I went to Milan. I spent there 2 years, and I met my best friend at that time who was passionate about music, same as me. And I honestly just told him that I really would love to pursue music, but I didn't know where to start, how to begin. Music production is a very complex thing. And he had the same passion as me, and I was kind of suggesting him to just start something together. So we started this duo at that time, but our sound and our interest in music was so different than any other people I've met at that time. So I saw this connection as a unique connection between us. So we started to learn on our own. We bought our first deck, and it was so new to me. I was just so excited to do this, but also fear was my drive as well. So I was afraid to start because I was afraid of judgment of other people.
Yeah. I think we all are. Sometimes we can't step out of their comfort zone.
Especially in the beginning,
Exactly.
when you're trying to impress, and also you want to make your parents proud. And when I told them hey, I want to do music, they were like, "You're not a musician. I don't have musical background. Nobody does music in my family." But I just loved it. I'm so passionate about it. Since I'm 14, I spend every day hours on SoundCloud searching for new music, creating my own playlists, and people were willing to pay for these playlists. I told them I'm literally spending hours on SoundCloud to just search for new music, and there were a lot of people who I show music to, even if it's not my music. They're like, "Wow, how did you find this track?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just kind of feel music differently than you.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, we started to produce together when I was 25. And it's been very difficult because I have literally no musical background whatsoever. So everything, it was self-taught, you know, a lot of
Yeah.
YouTube tutorials. I read a couple of books, talked to other producers, and it was, you know, day by day we were just learning. And our sound at that time was very American. Like, American culture when it comes to music is so different than European. And the sound what we were like searching, or like kind of like we found ourselves, was very American. So thankfully modeling opened a lot of doors in my life, and I got visa and I moved here 2018 to fully pursue music. It wasn't really for modeling, so I took this advantage of modeling, so came here. And every day we've been waking up 5 a.m. learning music, and just watching
Dedication.
tutorials and just trying to become better. And because, you know, it's nowadays music, there's so much music out there, and you trying to compete with one of the best, you know, and we're trying to improvise all the time. And I somehow met this person from Amsterdam who created The Voice, who saw us on Instagram. He found us somehow, and he asked me to meet up with him in LA. So, and I was kind of sketched out, like, when it comes to like meeting new people, because a lot of people took advantage of me and of my good heart. You know, I'm always friendly and always trying to like connect with people. Yeah. And I went to see this person who asked us to like just sit down, talk about music, and, you know, what's your guys' vision? And he connected us with this producer who's multi-platinum producer who worked with Justin Bieber, worked with Celine Dion, but he's very known in electronic music. And it's crazy because like I've manifested this for like 6 years that I would love to work with him one day. He has a lot of tracks which I was like obsessed with. And that was one of his best friends.
Yeah.
And when he told me his name, that, oh, my friend Cisco is in town, and I was like, is that your friend? Like, it's crazy. Like, it felt like a dream at that moment. And he told me he's down to go to the studio with you guys. And I was like, whoa, like it felt like a dream at that moment, because like for me it meant so much, you know. And we went to studio with this guy. We had like the greatest connection. We created 4 tracks. One of the tracks released came on Martin Garrix's label, and it hit like 2 million Spotify plays, and that started our career. It was right before COVID, and we played one of the biggest clubs here. We got booked for festival in France. I played Amsterdam Dance Event, and I was all the time booked for a lot of shows, and everything felt like crazy at that moment, because I'm like, it just happened so quickly, you know. And then COVID hit, and I kind of lost the track of everything. We split up with my friend, and I got into a relationship that kind of like also took me completely somewhere else. And after COVID, I realized that something is missing in my life, and of course it was music. Since I took this 2.5-year break, I came back to LA, and I moved in to this apartment where I live right now, and I met my new partner. His name is Fresco. He's from Alabama, and I didn't want to go into another duo, since it's very difficult to make music with somebody, since like you have to be with this person aligned on the same page, and also this person needs to be driven the same way I am driven. And I felt that this person wants this as much as I want it as well, and our music connected us heavily. We had a similar style, and I switched to house music. And it's been now 3 years we've been producing, putting out tracks. We've been getting booked everywhere. We're releasing every 3 weeks now new music, and we're found our sound, and now a lot of big producers and DJs are playing our music. So it's been crazy since then.
So Kris, you have a very successful, career in the Philippines. Have you thought about like getting into the whole American scene?
I would love to. I mean, we go where we're needed.
Yeah.
And Yeah, to answer your question, I would love to. We just got back into the studio. After this podcast, we're going back into the studio. We're recording some new music, and keep our fingers crossed. And yeah, I would love to.
So, Max is both a singer and actor, right? Are you dabbling into some acting in the Philippines?
I've done some TV shows, like guesting on some stuff. It wasn't really my cup of tea, but recently I have been dipping into content creation, like with Facebook reels and stuff like that. So I have been like dipping into little skits here and there.
That's you guys have such like very interesting background, right? It's like you came from you manifested a career.
Mm-hmm.
You basically wanted to be a Broadway actor, right? Which is interesting enough because I have a lot of friends that came from the Broadway world and now they're like doing TV and doing movies. And you came from here in the U.S. and went to the Philippines.
Yeah, a lot of people in the Philippines are trying to come
here. And you did the opposite.
The reverse.
Wow. I mean, is there anything else that you want to accomplish in your career?
There's
and
still
that goes to all three of you.
Yes, there's a lot.
So if there's one big thing that you can do, either play in certain festival or have like your dream movie role, what would it be for you?
I would love to win a Grammy, and I would love to play at Coachella.
We're gonna manifest that.
We're gonna manifest
that. You're gonna help me manifest that.
Yeah, and I would love to play at Coachella.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Hey, anything
Even
is
if it's just
possible.
like a guesting, like like one song and come out and come back out.
I'll be okay with just one song.
I did it.
Yeah, exactly. How about you, Max? Is there like a dream role or like a regular TV series or a movie that you want to?
There's so many. So there's a lot. I'd say I'll just share the lock screen on my phone. It's an EGOT, so an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award. So that just covers all my bases on all my passions.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily for the award per se. It's for me, it symbolizes I'm living my fullest potential, and for me, like, that is everything. And I think as artists, we were given a platform, and it's what you do with that platform. So, to be able to be on those stages and have those acceptance speeches, I know that there's so many people watching, and so to use that time to bring awareness to certain issues and to be able to raise the vibration of people and inspire people, that would be fantastic.
I feel like for me, it's a very interesting question because a lot of people always ask me what's my end goal. Obviously live from music and having a world tour and just working with my idols who I look up to. I'm influenced by a lot of people, but also show to people that even if you're a kid who was lost in life and have nothing, no really motivation to do anything, that you're capable of doing everything what you desire, and if you really believe in yourself. And I want to really showcase that through my music.
It's interesting because I always said that growing up, what I really wanted to be is I at one point in my life I wanted to be a Broadway singer. That didn't work out well for me. Then I wanted to work in the modeling industry, but more like in the booking side, right? For 25 years, I didn't take any professional photos. I hate cameras. I'm just gonna focus on my career in the medical field. And then one day I'm like, I'm gonna do something completely out of my comfort zone. And I thought about at one point podcasts. So like somehow, like, I believe in manifesting your dreams, right? But I also believe that it's so empowering when you do something out of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And I struggle. I struggle in front of the camera. How hard is it for you guys to get in front of the camera? Or do you feel like, because I know a lot of my friends who've done soaps before, they always tell me that they're very shy, but when they're in front of the camera, it's like something else completely take over. How is that for all three of you?
That's a good question. I personally didn't take any workshops. When I went to the Philippines, it
I
was
was
like
gonna
I just went straight up into the fire. Like when we auditioned, we were on camera, so I know exactly what you're talking about. When I saw it first time like this, like I was practicing the song that I was gonna sing, and as soon as I saw the cameras, it felt like everything just went and I was like, oh shit. And so yeah, I guess over experience, you just start to get comfortable.
I think it's for me personally, it's a lot easier for me to play characters, and so when a camera turns on,
so many times.
Yeah.
if I'm playing a character, so I've done so much work on the character. I know the story I'm trying to tell. I have all the subtext in there, and and then in the moment I get to like play off of another actor or actress.
Energy, yeah.
But I'd say this is probably the most uncomfortable thing. I think being like just because you're yourself, and there's so I think that's actually probably the most nerve-wracking thing.
I've heard that from so many actors, like in the Philippines. Like it's easy for them to play a different character, but when they have to play themselves, it's like when you have to play yourself, it's like who am I?
It's like I have to go soul searching to find out who I am. Yeah, but because it's interesting to me because you feel, at least I feel, that when you're in front of the camera, you look the other way, right? But there are people who are completely shy. Like I can talk in person. Like I love to talk in person. There are people that are completely shy, but you get them in front of the camera, it's like they get possessed and something else completely takes over them.
I feel like it's, since I've been doing modeling for over 11 years, it's taking pictures and talking in front of camera is two different things. And I feel like there's a lot of overthinking comes there, and a fear of judgment, I feel like, because whenever I watch my, let's say audio tapes and self tapes, I see myself and I kind of cringe, and I feel like it's okay to do so, but at the end of the day, it's like we're all people. We're trying to be vulnerable in front of camera, and I feel like it's okay just to showcase yourself and show emotion and laugh about yourself, because it's just vulnerable, and I feel like it's okay to be, So now for me, like seeing all these cameras in front of me, it's like, yes, I'm definitely nervous, but at the same time, it's nice to talk about myself, because I never really do so, because I don't really have a reason to do so,
Yeah. But now you do.
Now I do. Now I do.
So, composing a song and performing and putting together a track, that's a process, right? I want you guys kind of take me to the process from the beginning and to the finished product. Like, is there certain things that you do? Like right now, I just finished, writing a memoir for my daughter. But I know writers to have their own, way of writing things. With me, it's like I write down my thoughts, and there are people that they have to go back to where they want the book to start. Like me, it's like all over the place. How is it for you guys writing songs or writing tracks? Like, do you figure out the lyrics first, or do you figure out the rhythm?
I'm first.
Yeah, we all like it.
We'll let you be first.
I think it goes boom, 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 and her, then boom, boom, boom.
So grateful you're sitting there.
I think everybody has a different formula. Me personally, it happens different every single time. Okay. Sometimes the beat comes first, and then elements will just come in.
Yeah.
Like as you hear like the, you'll hear like the beat coming in, and then you'll hum a melody. It helps when there's like you have a team and you have like people. A lot of people will validate like, oh, that was dope. So you'll take that melody and then see where you want to place it in the song. Like, I think this sounds like a verse. This sounds like a B section. This sounds like, oh, that's the hook right there. And then you'll put like lyrics on it, and then it just builds from there. Sometimes I'll bust out my phone because I woke up. Sometimes I'll wake up.
It's always that when you wake up.
There's this melody that's just in my head, and so many times I forgot to write it down, and I forgot to voice record it, and then when you wake up to take a piss, it's just gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the first thing I do is when I have that in my head, I was like, oh shoot, I'll take it out and I'll da 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 da, and I'll go back to it, and then when we get in the studio, I'm like, oh shit, I got something, and then we'll build off of that. So it's different every single time. Yeah.
So how about you, Max? What's your process when you write?
Yeah, I relate. It is different every single time. And I'm in a place in my life, and I guess it's always been this way with music, where I only make it when I feel inspired to, like, in terms
That's
of
right,
like, if I'm processing a certain...
So it's more like a personal journey.
Yeah, like I'd consider myself more like an autobiographical artist. So when I'm processing life situations or anything, I turn to music. I turn to the keyboard. I'll play chord progressions and kind of go from there. I love this book called The Artist's Way. It's by this author her name is Julia Cameron, and she talks about every single morning to write out stream of consciousness. And I find, like, from that a lot of lyrics come. She also talks about, like, just write, if you're a musician, actor, just do your craft, like, every single day for a certain amount of time, and just dare to suck.
Yeah.
And, like, write a horrible song, and it's like not try to chase any sort of expectation. But I'm a big fan of collaborating with different producers and writers and being able to bounce off of each other, and really depends on what vibe I'm in and what message, once again, I want to share.
How great would it be if the three of you actually collaborate on the music,
Crazy
right?
collaboration.
I think that would be kind of great. You got
Yeah.
the Filipino artist, you got the American, and you got the DJ here.
So
Yeah.
when the song's done, he's gonna blast it in every festival.
Then I'll just be in the back going like this with like Morocco or something. How about you, Phil? How do you?
It's very different since I'm in a duo. There's a lot of thinking, I would say, but I like to go with the flow. If I hear a sound, a specific sound, because I'm very selective about my sounds, I can build a hook from one sound. I love to, like, sample a lot of things. So I go, let's say, into 70s, 80s, and I like to resample things. Or, like, let's say there's a splice, which is royalty-free sounds where you can just get in and do whatever you want with those sounds. And it's very different how the guys were saying. It's every day. I also hum melodies. I love beautiful chord progressions. Again, like, I'm not a musician. I wouldn't consider it myself, but I like to recreate sounds and make them the way I would like to hear them, in a sense. So it's very different every day, honestly.
Okay, so I want to go around and ask about favorite song that either A, you've written, or favorite song that you just like to sing or track, and why. If it's more of a motivation, or if there's like a personal meaning behind it.
Damn it, I'm first again.
You're first again.
Let me see. That's a good question. The one song that spoke to me the most and made me want to do what I do was Billie Jean, Michael Jackson. That song that's magic. That song is magic.
That's a song that whatever it is that you're going through or whatever you're doing, you stop and you just want to, like,
You
you
just
know,
wanna
do a
do
Michael
the pelvic
Jackson
thrust.
move.
So it was Billie Jean. If it was a song that I've written, I wrote this song. It's called Try Again. And I wrote it in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, my girlfriend was pregnant with my first child, and I was trying to see from a perspective, like, out of my body, looking at me.
Yeah.
So it's more of like, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. It's about how fast you can get back up and try again. And it summed up like the first 5 years of my career in the industry, where it's about failure, right? A lot of you learn everything from failure. The success is kind of like the reward, but but failure is actually a blessing, because that's where you learn everything.
It is. And, if you don't fail anything in life, you don't become successful, right? And they said a lot of successful people, it's because of, their journey. And there's been a lot of struggles. There's been a lot of failures that got them to the success that they have now. And you're not going to grow if you don't have any failures in life. And I don't think I know anyone in this world that hasn't had any failures. And if there is, they're just like, too egotistical to admit it. You're perfect. Yeah, I'm perfect. What are you talking about? That's very touching.
And then when we released it, it was released the year my daughter was born, which was 2012, and I kind of wanted to dedicate that song to her, because I know she's gonna use it. It's gonna apply to her.
Yeah.
Actually, everybody else too, but more like directed towards her, like when she's growing up. Because I know, and you know how it is when you're a kid and you just like, you make a mistake and then you're scared to do it over again. But Daddy's here to say it's okay, baby. Just do it again.
I think it's because when you grow up, right, you're afraid to admit to any mistakes that you had.
When we're growing up.
Only because, people think, or we get punished for our mistake. When I think, at least with my daughter, I have a 12-year-old. I always remind her that if you make a mistake, it's totally fine. It's how you bounce back, or how you take the lesson from that mistake and apply it into your life. I mean, I've had plenty of mistakes in life, plenty. But you get back up and you figure out what not to do, next, or allow people to learn from your mistakes so that people know exactly what not to do. And you've recently wrote a song that was released. Was that in May?
A few weeks ago. Is that one of a song that you've written that really touched your heart because of a journey, or there are other songs that spoke to you? I mean, there's many songs. Every song I write has a very special place in my heart. LAX for me is my current vibe of where I'm at, and I think it's a very important song, especially right now, to just make people like feel good. Honestly, while it's not the most, I wouldn't say the most intricate, or like you can dive into like all the lyrics and try and dissect them, which every lyric has a meaning for sure, but just the overall vibe behind it was really just to make people feel good for the summer. So yeah. And favorite song to sing would be Make You Feel My Love by Bob Dylan. It's been that for a while. I lost a really dear friend of mine in 2020, and I pretty much start out every single show when people ask me to sing.
Yeah.
I start out with that song because I want to dedicate it to my childhood friend, and she was always like encouraging me and my musical journey, and so that's it for me. I want to pay tribute to her. Yeah.
Awesome.
My favorite song, what I wrote, was in 2018 when I moved to America. It was the hardest year of my life because I went through so much struggle. The song is called Losing Myself, and it was the most played track of mine all over the world. And I put my emotion into it, even if it's like a very hard EDM track, but still the lyrics really resonated with how I felt at that moment and how I was really losing myself at the moment. Definitely. So that was my probably favorite track I wrote at that moment,
Is there any special projects that you're working on right now?
I have a lot of projects which I'm working on. I'm releasing a song on big label soon, which I don't want to still say it's too early, but it's going to be our first label release with my new partner. And I'm releasing also a song for this group called Disciples. They write songs for Calvin Harris, and we remixed their song recently, and they loved it so much. I posted it on Instagram, and they followed us. They only follow like 200 people, and they followed us. They liked it, so like it's a big honor because they're amazing songwriters. So there's a lot of amazing projects on the way for sure.
Yeah. And Max, I know you have a TV series that you're rehearsing for.
Yeah, so I just joined as a series regular, season 10 of this Emmy Award series called The Bay. I want to share so much about it, but I also don't want to give away any storyline, but you should definitely check out the first seasons so that you can like catch up to season 10. But yeah, right now prepping for that. We're in rehearsals right now, and I start filming my first day on Sunday.
Oh, amazing.
I actually just came from a rehearsal. I'm about to go to rehearsal right after this. So I'm like, it's interesting because my character has a musical storyline. So it's cool. A lot of times for projects, I really just like to stay like in character for most of the time, but it's cool.
So are you in character right now?
Like subconsciously, probably.
Yeah.
So that's why it's interesting to be doing this today. Yeah.
How hard is it for you to prepare for a role?
How hard?
Yeah.
I try and put like 180 billion% into everything I do.
Yeah.
So I'd say it depends on the character. There's some characters that are super dark, super light. The genre, it's a case by case basis. This character is really, really fun to dive into, but pretty much all of my time once I sign on to a project, that's where my headspace is at. And so even in real life circumstances, I try to approach things from like the character's POV. Whether I'm conscious of it or not, I'm creating this other person and finding parts of myself that relate to the person. So it's fun. It's a fun experience.
So you've done soaps before. You were in Young and the Restless, right?
Yes.
And you've done a movie.
Yes.
Do you prefer being in a soap or being in a movie? Because I know there's quite a difference between the two, right?
Yeah, I think soap is its own world, and then even scripted television and then film. I'd say TV and film are more similar than soap world. I'd say soap world is a really interesting training ground. You do a scene in one take. There's times where I remember filming like 50 pages in a day, like 2-3 episodes in a day, and you get like, you have a blocking in the morning and you have one shot to get it, and they will move forward. So it's a really great training ground for people. For me, I prefer getting more than one take. I prefer I just honestly genuinely love being able to like do what I do. So I wouldn't want to like say one is my favorite or not. I just am grateful to be able to do it.
But I've had a lot of, actor friends that they got their first start from a soap, and now, they transition to, doing films.
Yes.
Or being a host at a different shows.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, Kris, you're recording here in the States.
Yeah. Like I said, it was like an experiment. So my road manager, Joe, he put me in the studio with these, it's kind of like reggaeton. So it's a totally different genre from what I do. And it felt like, studio magic when that happens.
Yeah.
It felt like it was very refreshing. So we're excited. We want to shoot the video already. Like, that's how we're excited about this.
Come on, let's go. We got the crew here.
Yeah. And I think we're going to shoot the video in September. But in the meantime, I start my tour this Friday. So I'll be touring the US and then Canada, then Dubai. So
oh, wow.
In between now and September. So
have you done a tour here in the US before?
Yes, I have. Ever since I won that contest, I'm pretty much in the States like once or twice a year because of like touring and stuff like that.
Is there like any favorite cities that you like to go to when you're in the States?
Oh man, every city has its energy.
We wouldn't take it personally if you don't say LA.
LA's always like the sun. Like, if how Superman goes back to the sun and gets recharged. That's how I feel like every time I'm in LA. So it's home to me. I love New York. I love Dubai.
Yeah.
I loved Brazil. Brazil was amazing. Japan is just like, I didn't want to leave Japan. I love Japan so much. Wow. Like what Max said, as long as I'm able to do it, I love what I do.
It's just your passion. Yeah.
That is my passion, and all the different people you meet and interacting with all the energies and stuff. It's amazing.
So I struggle, having a career and being a mom. You always have that mom guilt. My daughter doesn't live here in LA. I kept her in Temecula, so I go back and forth. I cannot imagine how hard it is, for you to be a dad and also have a career. Do you ever feel like there'll be a point in your life where like, okay, no, I've done everything that I can. I'm going to just kind of take a step back and focus on my personal life?
Well, okay, so we're getting personal now.
No, I mean, you don't have to. I just asked because I asked myself that.
Okay, well, so with me, me and the mother, we didn't work out, so we split up.
Yeah.
I'm very, very grateful.
And you don't have to be completely personal. I completely
Right.
respect your
That's
privacy,
cool.
but
That's
it's
cool.
more like from an angle of,
Right.
struggling with work and having a personal life. Because I'm learning how to balance,
juggle.
but it's still difficult.
It is difficult. I'm grateful that the mother of my daughter, Katie, she's also a famous actress in the Philippines, and she's doing a really good job being a mom, even though she has work and shooting and filming at the same time. So she makes the co-parenting for me a lot easier. She does like 70 to 75% of the heavy lifting. So when Daddy Kris comes in, I'm just like hey, what's up, Katie? So yeah, I'm very grateful.
So I have such respect and admiration for like any parents in any industry that try to have a successful career and also be a present parent. And I know from a personal journey that you want to work your ass off for your kids and your future children, right? But you also want your child to know that you're loved and I'm doing everything to give you a good life. And me, as a single mom, not only do I have my own struggle in trying to fill in being a mom and being a dad, but also it's important that your child knows that you are a priority. You get up every day, you know that I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do that. But then you also know that you have this other life that you have to put in your schedule. So I have
100%.
a lot of respect, for what you do.
Thank you.
So being here in LA, do you ever do you miss when you're here, do you think about your life and career in the Philippines and now you came from a different country? Do you feel like, oh, I could have done this in my own country, or LA is where you want your career?
Well, the opportunities back home are not as complex as they are here. And I feel like what I love about America is that if people see your passion and your talent and that you're really about this, that they give you a chance to showcase yourself. Back home, I feel like the difference is that is not there's no really a scene for what I
Yeah.
do. And when I came here, it was automatic. I really put myself out there and I show people that this is what I do and this is what I really want to pursue, and they really give you chance. So that's the big difference between
Yeah.
my country and LA.
So Kris, when you're here in LA, do you miss your career back home in the Philippines?
Yes and no, because I feel like I'm doing the career out here, and as a performer, as a singer, I feel like being on tour is kind of what we live for. When we're able to go on tour, as a singer, that's hey, yeah, I get to go on tour. So there's aspects of it. I do miss my daughter. I miss my son. But daddy's got to work.
That's gotta work. No, Max, you transitioned for being in Broadway, and now you're doing film here in LA, right? If you have a message for your 15-year-old self, what would it be? Or any advice about their career? Anything that you want to tell your younger self?
That's a really good question. It's deep.
She's trying to heal. She's trying to heal our inner child.
Your inner
It's
artist.
important.
It is actually.
Yeah, I'd say honestly to protect your inner artist child. Keep this, and I wouldn't want him to do anything different. I'd want it. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he honestly should be telling me stuff. So I ask him for answers.
It's funny. I have a friend of mine, and he always carry around a baby picture of him, like when he was 4 or 5. That's why I always
love
think
that.
about, when I do certain things, like what would I tell my younger version, right? And I'd ask him, why do you carry that around? And so you should carry it around too. I'm like,
I love that.
why?
Yeah.
He said, because when you look at that photo, you gotta think of that person that you're trying to protect, which is your inner child. But you also want to do things that will make that, younger version of you proud of what you're doing now. So that's stuck, like, in my head. And it's something that I've told my daughter too. And she has like a baby picture of her.
Beautiful.
So I always want to tell, I always want to know other people's message to their, younger version. Like, I know you'll probably have a lot of message since, you came from here, you went to the Philippines, and, as a child growing up here, did you ever think about you would even have a career in a different country?
No, that happened so fast. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't even know. It was not even in the radar.
And that's the best thing, though, when things just happen, like, kind of,
that decision happened
pretty
in,
fast.
Kid you not, like a week.
Wow. So will you tell 15-year-old Kris?
Oh man, it's my turn again. I would tell him to just keep believing in yourself the way you do. Don't do anything different.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Max said. Just keep doing you.
So if I can go back and my 15-year-old me, always take a step forward. Don't be afraid. Don't listen to the others, and believe in your heart.
That's you guys have like some really good message to your younger self.
Can I add to what I said? Because when they were saying something, I was like, oh yeah, I know what I
Yeah.
was going to say. What I would tell to my 15-year-old self is to continue to love yourself. Because when you continue to love yourself, and when you love yourself, you won't be scared to be yourself. And when you can be yourself, that's the only thing you could be that no one else can be. And that's the best thing you could offer the world.
That's very deep. And it's so true because, sometimes we get lost in all this like, grind of like our work that we neglect ourselves. And I know for 8 years, I've neglected myself. It wasn't until last year that, I woke up one day and realized, what, it's time to kind of focus on myself. So you go through this journey and you're like, okay, what have I done that was not serving myself? Or, how do you practice self-love? Right? Because, at least in my generation, I know I'm much older than you guys. In my generation, we came from a generation where we were not taught that you got to take time to yourself. It's okay for you to draw boundaries. It's okay for you to say no, because that's one of the struggle we have in our culture. It's okay for you to, take some time and go do something fun. And if, one of the things that I know I would tell my younger self is stop being serious about life and have a little fun. Self-love, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm such a workaholic that I have to remind myself that, it's okay to take a break or take another hour and take a nap on a Sunday. And that's really hard to practice. So that's such a deep, message that you have, for yourself.
Was that it?
Anyone else?
I was gonna say
Anyone else?
but before ask your next question, I just want to say thank you for having me here. Like hearing Max's story and his story, like it's really inspiring. Like I could tell by sitting by these two gentlemen, like Max it feels like he's just this big channel. It feels like he's this channel that just
It's this
whatever
energy.
it just comes in and he's like the outlet, and same with you. So thank you guys for sharing your story.
Same.
No, I really think I would really manifest like seeing you guys do something together, and you going to Coachella and you winning your awards and you pursuing, what you love, and, play a big festival. I would actually take time to go see you guys do your things, because I suck at watching TV. I don't ever go to festivals. I barely go to concerts, but it'll be, it's nice to see like different journeys, because a lot of times we hear people's stories, we hear people's success, right? But we don't know how they got there. And people just see, especially with our the social media nowadays, people see what we want them to see, right? People just think, oh, you go out all the time. You're like, no, you don't know what goes on, behind the camera. It's not a lot of times we're able to share our struggles. And I think that's such an important thing to motivate people. And I think part of, being in the public eye is you want to be transparent. You want to share your story to other people, not because you want people to admire you. It's because you want to make a difference and motivate people. And I think that's part of the reason why, I wanted to have this show and really get to know people. It's not because of their success. Like, I want to know the complete opposite. Like, I want to know the struggle. I want to know the failures. And you guys have such different, background, same industry, different background, but like the struggle and the story, it's so motivating. And I'm pretty sure that even if I ask you guys if there's anything you can change about your life, it's probably nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, right? But yeah, it's amazing to have you guys, and thank you so much for, taking the time, and, hopefully in a year we'll be back here and we get to hear your stories on Coachella, your awards and everything. So what's coming up for you guys? What is it that you want your followers and your fans to know?
Well, to sum it up, you guys can follow me on my social media. It's I'm Kris Lawrence, letter I, letter M, K, Kris Lawrence.
Wait, I'm following you, but you're not following me.
Oh, I'm not?
I'm just kidding. You have time.
The follow button doesn't work. I'm gonna get you. But yeah, please follow me. I'm Kris Lawrence. And sa mga kababayan ko dito sa States, mabuhay tayo. And you guys could catch me on tour. I'll be on tour with Nina.
Awesome. Yeah, you could check me out on social media at Max Ehrich. Ignore the H's. It's just at MAXEHRICH. And binge watch The Bay, because I'm coming on for season 10, and go stream my song LAX if you want to have a good vibe.
You guys can follow me on Instagram, FILIPKUBICA. My group is called Open Format, MVT at the end.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate having you here. And thank you so much. This is me.
This
is us.